Hello and welcome to News Tonight. I'm Rodangon. Start with the headlines. Cross-border activities to resume as Museveni-Kagame sign peace pact. Kosase summons Bank of Uganda Governor Mutabile. While KCCA attributes City Hall burglary to sabotage. Pioneer Easy Bus Company Nambole land fraud saga. And KCCA leadership disagree on uniform property tax. Hello once again, Mugalu Mohammed on Sign Language. President Yoweri Museveni has thanked his Angolan counterpart, João Manuel Lourenço, for overseeing a reinforcement process that has culminated into Uganda and Rwanda signing a pact to improve their political and economic relations. The president was speaking in the Angolan capital, Luanda. President Museveni noted that he was already in touch with Mr. Kagame to seek a resolution to the issues between the two countries when the presidents Lourenço and Tshisekedi invited him to this summit.
And that's why we have come up with the communique of Rwanda. The problems, I may have my own understanding, but somebody has got a different view. That's why sharing becomes very important, and that's why we are grateful. I myself am grateful that President Lourenço came in, President Tshisekedi came in. I had already been in touch with President Kagame through our own channels, but this was like a reinforcement.
Now, as for our commitment, Rwanda's commitment to implementing or following the guidelines that will help us overcome a number of difficulties. I think we are not going to be found wanting in the process of respecting not only what is in the communique, but also respecting our brothers, the leaders who have brought us together to reach this understanding.
Well, now let's delve into that Luanda agreement that was signed today. According to the agreement, the Ugandan and Rwandan leaders agreed to respect each other's sovereignty and of neighboring countries. They committed to refrain from actions conducive to destabilization or subversion in the territory of the other party or neighboring countries, and also eliminate all factors that may create such perception, as well as financing, training and infiltration of destabilizing forces. The leaders will respect and protect the rights and freedoms of the nationals of the other party residing or transiting in their national territories in accordance to their laws or the laws of the countries. The pact indicates that the two countries will resume cross-border activities including movement of persons and that of goods. The president also undertook, in the spirit of Pan-Africanism and regional cooperation, to comprehensively cooperate in politics, security, defense, trade and culture. Now, to implement these resolutions, the leaders agreed to establish an ad hoc commission headed by Ministers of Foreign Affairs and composed of Ministers of Internal Affairs, Administration and Heads of Intelligence. That's all to see this whole process through. Jinja West Member of Parliament Moses Balieko has welcomed the signing of the Peace Pact between President Yoweri Museveni and his Rwandan counterpart Paul Kagame. Balieko says this is a golden opportunity for the two countries to embrace peaceful regional development purposes. Let's take a look.
For us in Uganda, we are peacemakers, and we've never waged a war on any of our neighboring countries. We have that to protect our boundaries and our people. If you have signed the peace pact, as you've stated it today in Angola, it shows clearly that we are committed to having peace and doing trade. What Uganda wants is to do business with neighboring countries, so that trade can prosper, people can prosper, and the country can also get prosperous. So to me, it is no news. That is our noble cardinal principles. We make peace. You know, the tension is not created by Uganda. Tension comes from the other side. And for us, we are always there to discuss, negotiate, agree. We take Rwanda as a brother, sister country to us. So to us, there is no tension that will arise coming from Uganda. We are committed to peace. We are committed to trading. We are committed to partnership.
There you go. In 2002, President Yoweri Museveni commissioned Kaweri Coffee Farm, one of the major German investments in Uganda. To date, Kaweri remains the biggest coffee farm in the country that plays a major economic role for the Mubende area. Newman Coffee Group invited the president to the farm in order to take stock of the overall development of this venture 17 years after its inception. The president delegated the Prime Minister to represent him. Let's take a look.
He was received at the dry mill by the State Minister for Kampala, who is also Woman MP Mubende District, Benny Namugwanya, Newman Group owner David Newman, the German ambassador to Uganda, Dr. Albert Konze, and the district leadership. Kaweri has 1,600 acres under coffee and is the largest commercial Robusta coffee farm in Africa. It produces top-quality washed Robusta coffee in its own wet and dry mills and exports it to various countries, helping to make Uganda coffee famous. In a closed-door meeting at the residence of Newman Farming MD, the Prime Minister discussed company management salient issues affecting operations of the investment. The Prime Minister later addressed coffee farmers.
I congratulate the Newman Coffee Group and look forward to seeing the farm flourish and grow over the coming years. And let me assure the farm, the Newman friends, that these issues that the Minister talked about are issues in the final stages of being sorted out. Your investment program in Uganda and its expansion should go ahead and interact it, knowing that this is a temporary matter which is in the final stages of its resolution. Once again, friends, it's my great pleasure to come and see the great work that our friends of Kaweri Coffee are doing with your full participation and cooperation. And I also commend them for providing their social responsibility obligations to assist people with boreholes, with schools, with road network, and with improving the quality of coffee being produced and new and modern methods of coffee production, so that you can get more money from your given square area, acre or whatever it may be, of coffee. I also salute the cooperation that I see clearly evident between the company, the political leadership, and population. It is that partnership, that closeness, that collaboration that will ensure optimal and maximal production. Keep it up.
Newman Coffee Group CEO David Newman said he intends to make more investments in Uganda because of its conducive investment climate.
That we want to make large investments in the next years because we believe in Uganda and we believe in coffee in Uganda and we believe in the future of Uganda.
Kaweri Coffee Group has provided a community clinic, drilled water sources, and built a primary school providing education to 690 pupils. It also employs 160 people on permanent basis and 3,200 workers at peak season. This report was compiled by Michael Mugerwa for UBC News.
Now, Minister for Security, also Army Representative to Parliament, General Eli Tumwine, has poked holes in the parliamentary report that accuses him of bullying other members of Parliament. Tumwine, who maintains his respect for the House, insists that allegations against him are untrue, vowing to prove his innocence before any authority. He said this shortly after a heated parliamentary debate following the presentation of majority and minority reports from the Committee of Rules and Privileges. The majority report was presented by Kalaki County legislator Angalo Bote Clement, and as rather his Bukoli counterpart Mugoya Gasta Chawa presented the minority report.
In accordance with Rule 170, in accordance with Rule 172(1)(a), the committee recommends that Rule 8 be invoked to order Honorable General Eli Tumwine to be reprimanded for breach of privilege of a member of Parliament and for being disrespectful to Parliament. Though this sanction is not provided for under our rules of procedure, it is a Commonwealth parliamentary practice in countries such as Zambia, India, Australia, and the United Kingdom.
If General Eli Tumwine intended to assault Honorable Gwa, he would not have invited her to move to the parking yard to look at the paintings on his car against the usage of DDT in Uganda. That clearly shows that Honorable Cecilia Ogwal blew this matter out of proportion, as this was merely an ordinary social interface coined with verbal friction that did not give rise to an act of assault or even a mere attempt of it.
Is that there are many of us who have stayed in this house for quite a number of years. By now we should have heavily bonded in terms of relationship, have a courtesy and respect for one another and the institution. In which case I want to make this passionate appeal to General Tumwine. General Tumwine, you are the seniorest person here. Ever since you people came back from the bush, you landed in this parliament and you are still here. Offer leadership, offer maturity by way of, showing the way to these young men and women who have just come in.
We should run away from this Lugambo running with information this way, that way. It causes more problem and it causes shame to us as a house.
We have had the reports, we've had the debates. I now put the question that the question be put. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no. I now put the question that the minority report be adopted. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no. Noes have it. So the majority report is adopted. Other issues I will do what Honorable Bright suggested. We'll go and have some meetings.
I will stand for the truth, I will die for the truth, and in this process, I want to see where Parliament will take this. The precedent that they are setting, that when I pointed a finger at her, which I always do, I'm always talking with my finger. Look at all my pictures. I'm always talking with my finger. Because I'm making my point that way, it's an expression. If I tell you you are a liar, if I say you have lied, for her, she says, once you point a finger to me, you have pointed a gun. And therefore, my whole family is in danger, Bambi. I want to assure the family of Honorable Cecilia Ogwal and all her relatives, I have no interest in causing anybody harm. Let everybody, there is no reason why anybody should feel insecure with me in this country of Uganda, with my record, with my history, which they think they will just smear. Takes time to build it. It takes time to build that reputation. It takes sacrifice, which they don't want us to talk about. That was also an accusation. In the committee, that's what they told me. They said, oh, they are accusing you of saying you sacrificed. I said, yes, it's not a fact. It's a fact. I can't change it. And if you don't want to hear it, now what can I do to you?
Oh, wow. The Committee on Commission, Statutory Authorities and State Enterprises, COSASE, has issued summons to Central Bank Governor, Professor Emmanuel Tumusime Mutavile, to appear before the committee and respond to petitions related to closure of the 7 commercial banks. The petition comes after the governor and his team skipped the committee proceedings, but rather sent a written apology to the committee, indicating he had a busy schedule.
Committee, because I looked at the letter from the speaker, it tells us to entertain one group of people. So when yesterday I saw him introducing, and maybe to advise him to go through the same process, because his is a different matter.
Earlier this week, the Committee on Commission, Statutory Authority and State Enterprises invited officials from Bank of Uganda to appear and respond to complaints of one Chris Tushabe, a former shareholder of Cooperative Bank.
August 2019, between COSASE and a representative from the Bank of Uganda, he requested that I appear before the committee in person on the 21st of August 2019 at 9 a.m. Unfortunately, I will not be able to attend in person as I had already scheduled a meeting with all the executives of the commercial banks to take place today. I am also fully engaged next week. This is therefore to request that you kindly agree to reschedule this meeting to the second week of September 2019. Yours faithfully, Tumusime Mutavile, Prof. Governor.
However, Bank of Uganda did not appear, but sent a written apology.
My proposal is that we determine the next time we want him to appear, and this time he must be summoned. Say that if he doesn't show up on that day, we can even order for his arrest and he's brought here.
It is true that this is the third time they are missing appearance before this committee. Therefore, I would like to also concur with the proposal of the Honorable Semuju that we go ahead and issue summons with strict wording.
Chris Karobwa, a former shareholder of Cooperative Bank, claims to have lost over 3 billion in cash and property worth 1.4 billion when Cooperative Bank closed in 1997.
I was a shareholder in the Cooperative Bank and a client also with money, with business over 3 billion and properties worth 1.42 billion. From that time up to now, over 20 years, they don't want to give me my properties. They sold them, I think, cheaply.
Karobwa also claims that he was made to pay an overdraft of 600 million, which he was forced to pay under duress, with the vain hope of getting his property back. Tushabe, formerly a Cooperative Bank shareholder, was the owner of a property now Emini Pasha Hotel that was sold off by Bank of Uganda.
With an overdraft facility of 600 million, which when the Bank of Uganda closed forced me to pay, but later accepted that I had been unjustly asked to pay this money.
The committee adjourned prematurely and asked Mutavile to honor the summons and appear for probe Thursday next week.
We have resolved that he appears on Thursday next week, and summons are going to be extracted accordingly. Yes, and they will be served on him by the end of business today.
The committee resumed the probe on Bank of Uganda after Speaker Rebecca Kadaga's directive, following a petition by Karobwa. Cooperative Bank was liquidated in 1997 after it allegedly became insolvent. Susan Naonga reporting.
All right, still in Parliament, legislators are demanding for a clear position on the fate of Maction Falls. That's after reports of a private company's proposal to set up a hydropower project there. This is as the Ministry of Energy and that of Environment presented sole positions on the matter. As Ivan Kawa reports, the ministries state that Maction Falls is short of meeting the principles of sustainable development.
For starting now, that's what we want to know. Madam Speaker,
the Ministries of Environment and Energy have reaffirmed their position on the fate of Murchison Falls that has been under threat. A private company, Bonang Power and Energy Limited, that had shown interest in constructing a 360 megawatt hydropower project along River Nile in Kiyandongo and Nwea districts affecting Murchison Falls is likely not to materialize. The assessment into the project indicates inconsistency in the area applied for this hydropower project.
But our check showed that the geographical information system locates coordinates where at Murchison Falls. This raises concern on the intent of the company overall.
Kitutu Mary Goretti, the State Minister for Environment, says environment management is done using globally accepted approaches where planning authorities should compensate for impacts associated with economic development to ensure there is no net loss of environment value.
If this approach were to be applied, it leaves no matching offset downstream in character and feature for Murchison Falls that drop by 40 meters of sheer magnificence and grandeur.
Murchison Falls is known for harboring a variety of animal species and is ranked one of the best world tourism destinations that if the project is endorsed, Uganda will forfeit the benefits.
The Bonang Power and Energy Limited reviews the Energy Master Plan and identifies another area which are viable for the generation of the 360 megawatts of power without need to waste resources on a feasibility study for an area that falls short of meeting principles of sustainable development.
Even the document, the memorandum to the cabinet, which has not been discussed, is also saying that is not a stable place to generate electricity because of the existence of diversity in that area. The animals, the dams and so on, which bring money.
Legislators, on the other hand, were not certain on government's position on the matter.
A matter raised by a minister to a regulatory authority does not reflect the opinion of cabinet. And you know the president is the president and has executive authority over the members of his cabinet.
So all the decisions that will be taken there outside the decision we have taken, for us we are sure we are not bound and they don't belong to us.
But from your answer, it seems that the Ministry of Energy will continue making the applications, IRA will continue making the applications, NEMA will now think about it, and it is unlikely to... what we want to hear that the government has said no.
We are saying we are not developing anything there in line with what NEMA said. There will not be any development.
Our stand is final and we have now agreed that no development will go on in the Murchison Falls. I beg to lay.
The lead of government business, who is the Prime Minister, has been given up to Tuesday next week to give a clear government position on the matter. Ivan Kahwa, UBC News at Parliament.
About the idea, internally you may...
United Nations, in partnership with Uganda, is to host the first ever public-private partnership conference to help people build synergies world over. The conference, slated for September, will begin with training to encourage people to be part of the economic development of the country. The three-day meet runs from the 16th till the 18th at Serena Conference Centre, Kampala.
For decades now, government has been promoting public-private partnership for economic development. This campaign by President Museveni has attracted investors from within and without to the country. Minister for Energy and Mineral Development, Irene Muloni, says government is constrained with budgets, citing her sector where they are partnering.
Private, public,
Energy and Mineral Development, Irene Muloni, says government is constrained with budgets, citing her sector where they are partnering.
Private, public partnerships is really taking root in every place. For me, it has already taken root in my sector. And every time we are looking for money from finance and finance says, I don't have money, we say, okay, so can we look at the private sector? Can we have a partnership that makes business sense?
The minister explains, for many years, opportunities would go to foreigners, leaving out the locals.
In the petroleum, we've ring-fenced 25 opportunities that we think really these ones, the foreigners should not participate. Let it be the locals to participate. But again, within even those ring-fenced for locals, you still compete amongst yourselves.
Lieutenant General Charles Sangina from Operation Wealth Creation says they want to go agro-led, where Ugandans should engage in commercial production. Operation Wealth Creation has laid plans to start forming cooperatives. Lieutenant General Charles Sangina says these will be placed under respective ministries depending on the areas of speciality.
And for our part as Operation Wealth Creation, we would want to ensure that by the time we are done, we shall have all the households which we started with forming into cooperatives, primary society, secondary society, and eventually cooperative society, so that at the time when the president wants to deploy us elsewhere, we have what to hand over.
The September Conference Partnership is the first of its kind to be held in Uganda. Mutonyi Hilda, UBC.
Pioneer Easy Bus Company has been implicated in the criminal trespass of Mandela National Stadium land. Quizzing the director of Pioneer Easy Bus Company, Albert Muganga, the inquiry noted that there was a lot of influence peddling by Awan Madina Nsereko, who was a commissioner in Uganda Land Commission. The 30 acres allegedly leased to Pioneer Easy Bus Company were for the construction of a bus park.
You know, Ugandans have become greedy. People think that in 2019 we have forgotten what happened in 1993.
The Commission of Inquiry into Land is investigating the encroachment of Mandela National Stadium land by squatters. This follows complaints raised by the management of Nambole Stadium in regard to the encroachment on the land by different people, including Pioneer Easy Bus Company.
What you're doing is criminal trespassing. I don't know, by the way, I don't know you. You must be very special. But another Ugandan who did what you did would be in court. And other Ugandans have actually been taken to court from in Nambole. Cases have been filed against them for doing what you did. So for you to do what, to encroach like the other encroachers and then go ahead and get a lease is an actual insult to the people of Uganda.
The Ministry of Education and Sports has plans of fencing off the 125 acres of the stadium land as a way of safeguarding it from encroachers.
And if evidence can be put before me and say, look here, at this point you are informed that there was a plan by the National Stadium to do this, then I went beyond that.
And thank God for the work of this commission, that because we spotlighted this issue, the Ministry of Education has woken up to its duties. Now look, if we are really good Ugandans, we know that maybe a particular government department is lagging behind in its responsibility. Do we help the government department by actually taking away from it?
Currently, there is a lot of public anger created by Pioneer Easy Bus Company to Ugandans, yet its plans are not yet aligned with the Ministry of Education and Sports.
The Minister herself was protesting. She doesn't believe in this idea. Have you aligned your plans, the plans of the Greater Kampala? Unfortunately, it's only Pioneer providing it.
Is it only Pioneer which can provide that business? Is it the only company that is able to do the things that you are doing? Are there no people in this country with enough money to do that business? If you're going to start that discussion, my brother.
But was Pioneer Easy Bus the only company interested to do public business for public land to be encroached upon?
There was a lot of fish dealing on this land.
Yes, I offered them money. And
as long as you don't see anything wrong in any of your dealings, in any of your transactions, in any of your undertakings, then this country has a problem.
The commission questioned why the director connived with the family of Nora Nabagesera to lodge complaints of land ownership, yet government had compensated all the claimants.
That family is fraudulent. Just look at the proceedings before Justice Kainamura. Just look at the proceedings, the records of Uganda, of the Ministry of Lands. This family was compensated, and they are coming back to take back the land for which they were compensated. You know, people who should be actually behind bars are busy disturbing us and creating all kinds of nuisances.
The commission discovered that there was competition for public good by both the management of the stadium and Pioneer Easy Bus, who claim to be saving government from high transport costs.
The Pioneer is doing what government should have done?
Yes. Which is the kind of transport we are providing is, it should be cheap, it should be affordable, and it should be safe.
Maybe you want to help us to understand how your public good in terms of buses assists our national stadium, which is supposed to be involved with high-level sports, international sports.
The management of Pioneer Easy Bus went behind the management of Nambole Stadium and started pursuing their own interests with the Uganda Land Commission.
You told Mandela National Stadium that you just wanted a bit more space to park some more buses. That's all. You didn't tell them that you wanted to own their land.
To date, Pioneer Easy Bus Company has a fraudulent lease on Nambole land for 5 years. Sudat Kai, UBC News.
Now, government's efforts to have a government-aided secondary school in every sub-county are on track. In Lango sub-region, works at Okwero Seed Secondary School in Kole District is in progress, as witnessed by a team from Manifesto Implementation Unit of State House who are inspecting government projects.
Okwero Seed Senior Secondary School, located in Okwero sub-county, Kole District, has been operating in these two classroom blocks since 2010. According to the school head teacher, Omara Tom Edward, the environment has not been conducive for the proper learning of the students.
We do not have library, and that is why we could not perform well, and our candidates.
Government, under the Ministry of Education and Sports, with support from the World Bank, is upgrading the only secondary school in the sub-county to improve the academic standards. This is part of the government's efforts to have a secondary school in every sub-county, as per the 2016 to 2021 NRA manifesto.
We identified Okwero to be in the first phase because it was far away from a nearby secondary school, and the community has welcomed it.
But apparently the 7 structures are all standing. That is the administration block, multipurpose hall, 3 classroom blocks, then the ICT, the library. Then by the end of this year, I want to finish all the 7 structures so that effective studies can start by next year.
It is expected to increase the enrollment of up to 600 students from the current 81 students in the school.
I will call upon the Ministry of Education and Sports to come on board and make sure that our teachers are recruited so that they are put on payroll so that they begin doing their work. Because it is very difficult now to work with the teachers who are not being paid because we are having a very big challenge of the funds.
Statistics from the Education Ministry indicate that there are 615 sub-counties in Uganda and only 228 sub-counties have government-aided schools.
So that means achieving each sub-county having a secondary school will be achieved at 100% come 2021, and all the country will be covered.
Cabinet last year approved a loan of 1.5 trillion Uganda shillings from the World Bank to construct secondary schools, as well as upgrade health centers and run rural electrification projects. This is expected to be implemented in a period of 5 years, from 2019 to 2023.
I feel so happy about the project going on here. We are so grateful, and we thank the President also for having done all this.
We are all going to benefit, and I believe we are all going to pass this year.
Bernard Higa, UBC TV, Lango Sub-Region.
2 people have been confirmed dead in a fatal accident that occurred Tuesday evening along Jinja-Kampala Highway. According to eyewitnesses, 2 people died on spot due to numerous injuries they sustained. It is said trailer number UAM 678L or US 84 6K that was carrying cement from Tororo heading to Kampala rammed into Fuso registration number KCG 503F that was carrying tomatoes heading to Jinja. Some of the deceased victims include a woman only identified as Nabunya Rinat, a teacher at St. Stephen Nakatiaba, found in Buikwe, together with her husband Robert Batua, the driver of the now wrecked trailer. Information indicates Nabunya was carrying her 6-month-old baby, who fortunately survived the accident and has been taken to Kawolo Hospital for medical attention. Police has attributed the accident to reckless driving.
Era kyokka abantu babiri bakakakasibwa nti bafu wabula poliisi yatuukidde mu budde n'etaasa omwana ow'emyezi 6
ogwaffe nabo bakola ogwabwe naye batulemesezza kati aba wali waliwo kapande kyakalaga nti waliwo eyingira waliwo efuluma tewali tewali.
Such unfortunate incident. Government is upgrading selected health centre 2s to health centre 3s in a bid to improve service delivery in the health sector. As per the NRM manifesto, in Lango sub-region, work at different sites is in progress, as witnessed by a team from the manifesto implementation unit of State House who were inspecting government projects.
This is Nakatiti Health Center 2, located in Nakatiti Village, Muntu Sub-County, in Namolata District. It offers services ranging from early treatment and diagnosis, testing and counseling, family planning, and antenatal services. Apio Catherine, a nursing assistant here, says limited space is their biggest challenge.
Even our mothers, when they come, they first stay outside, then the block we are delivering them. It is not even enough. It is the one for delivery. It is at the same time we are offering postnatal there.
According to Catherine, staffing gaps also affects their services.
Me, as I talk, I'm working as a nurse at the same time as a midwife. So that gap is needed really.
However, the situation is soon changing after government decided to upgrade the facility to Health Center 3 under the Uganda Intergovernmental Fiscal Transfers Program. The acting RDC Mulata District, Jonathan Akweteireho, is optimistic that the facility will up healthcare services.
Really try to ease accessibility to the wananchi about health service. Equally, medicines, at least per the records we have and what we see physically, including up to yesterday, they are being delivered in time.
A team from the Manifesto Implementation Unit of State House, who were on an oversight visit to Lango Sub-Region, also visited Away Health Center 3 in Away Sub-County Leptong District that is also under renovation.
And in 3 months' time to come, they will be completed. And that will help a lot in achieving the manifesto commitment of having all sub-counties have health center 3s. And that is already an achievement to the government of Uganda.
According to the Minister of Health, government is set to upgrade 206 health center 2s to health center 3s countrywide to improve service delivery at local government level. This is aimed at, among others, reduce maternal mortality and bring a comprehensive package of maternal and laboratory services closer to the people. Bernard Yiga, UBC TV, Lango Sub-Region.
And Uganda has registered an increase in the prevalence of HIV/AIDS among young women to 7.1% between the ages of 15 to 24 in the period of 1 year. This is based on the Uganda AIDS Commission report. While at the official release of the 12th Annual Joint AIDS Review Conference, a Director General Uganda AIDS Commission, Dr. Nelson Musova, stressed that funding poses a great challenge in the fight against the epidemic.
A report by the Uganda AIDS Commission says Uganda still has 1,000 new infections and 5 deaths of HIV every week. The prevalence is high among women at 7.1% and younger men of 15 to 24 years at 4.4%.
If we harness that budget that translates from 7 of stigma and discrimination as to the problem at household level, within families and partners and spouses, in the workplace, including in schools,
The Director General Uganda AIDS Commission, Dr. Nelson Musova, stressed that the delayed operationalization of the AIDS Trust Fund hinders the struggle of the fight against the scourge.
500 deaths as unacceptable. So it just means that, he has pledged, indicated a number of areas, but also pledged political commitment and invited Uganda AIDS Commission.
The current domestic investment by the government is 11% in the struggle of eliminating the epidemic. The State Minister for Housing, Dr. Chris Badiomosi, officiated at the event on behalf of the Prime Minister and commits the underlying factors by the government to handle barriers in the fighting the scourge.
The government of Uganda is thus committed to ensuring the realization of the right to HIV and AIDS preventive and care services, including strengthening of public health systems and providing an enabling environment for innovations through research for new scientific technologies.
William Carlos, the Ireland ambassador, whispered to the government of Uganda to emphasize information access among young people in the response to HIV scourge.
Empowering young people to champion the end of HIV as the theme of this very important conference. To achieve this, we need to apply high-impact strategies and biomedical interventions alongside concerted efforts to address social cultural barriers. Adolescents in Uganda must be able to access timely and quality information about sexuality.
People living with HIV want the government to enroll them as foot soldiers for proper coordination and the struggle against the epidemic.
The service providers, many of them don't want to work with us for unit, they want to work with PhDs. We don't have LPs with PhDs, but we're putting with HIV. We should be empowered and should be with us foot soldiers to ensure that our colleagues who are enrolled in care are supported.
According to the report, Uganda has made significant progress in fighting HIV, especially by using the Presidential Fast Track Initiative. However, the magnitude of the epidemic remains high. Abdul Nasili Luwama for UBC News.
Every dream has a challenging journey. Ours began in 1998. With a mission to drive the development of a robust communications sector in Uganda, we created structures to champion the dream. We've evolved, made discoveries, supported great minds, empowered Ugandans, and fostered a vibrant culture, enabling communication for all. Down the years, we've created memories and networks, uniting generations and building great partnerships. Together, we can go even further. UCC, celebrating 20 years of achievements.
Have you completed Senior 4 or Senior 6 and you want to do a 2-year certificate or a diploma course? Makerere Institute for Social Development, an affiliate to Makerere Business School, offers programs in accounting and finance, business administration, procurement and supplies management, social work and social administration, information technology, counseling and guidance, human resource, project planning and management, journalism, secretarial studies, and many others. We are located on Apollo Kegwa Road, next to Oilcom Petrol Station, with a UBTEP Center number.
Nabubi yazimba kumutya muwanvu enkuba yatonya nabubi yakwa.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Pain Arena. Introducing on the right corner, Mr. Action, the reigning heavyweight champion in the ring against
the Headache, the #1 contender. And the bell rings.
Headache charges forward with a steady right and a left hook. Action dodges. He misses out with an inch. Wait a minute. Mr. Action launches back with a kick. The final blow. He is out.
If symptoms persist, seek medical advice.
You are still watching News Tonight. In business news, Uganda's private sector will take the best offer from either the Central or Northern Corridor. It is the principle of options, according to Moses Ogwal from the Private Sector Foundation in Uganda. His observation comes amidst a spirited business competition between the two trade routes.
The private sector is the major beneficiary in the battle for trade supremacy between the northern and the central corridors. It's the principle of option that often comes in handy for the business community, argues Moses Ogwal from the Private Sector Foundation.
So whoever provides you the best service lures you to use them. So to me, going for both corridors, an emphasis of improvement in both corridors, is an advantage to the Ugandan private sector. In the line of what I mentioned earlier, what services are we getting and what costs are we getting? Those will be the determinants to make somebody decide which route to follow. But let's have the two options.
Although Uganda's trade with Kenya has grown exponentially and Mombasa is still the preferable export-import route, over the years issues related to logistics management continues to inhibit trade flow. On the other hand, Uganda Export Promotion Board is utilizing the Commercial Diplomacy Initiative to market Uganda's produced products and services to the world.
We are now working really closely with our foreign missions to appreciate the in-market challenges, to appreciate the in-market requirements, and to get closer to our buyers. Now, this has been a gap with Export Promotion Board. So such kind of activities that have been started to grow our commercial diplomacy are of such big value.
The ministry is indeed mandated to promote bilateral, multilateral, and intergovernmental relations. So these include, of course, international relations and trade, foreign relations, diplomatic and consular services, international boundaries, agreements, treaties, as well as conventions.
Building on production, enhancing quality and quantity, and improvement in packaging are some of the areas that the Export Promotion Board is working on.
The quality of packaging for our products has tremendously improved. Now, what we are doing as Export Promotion Board is to coach, teach, and show our companies, exporters, what they actually need to do. Our experience in China, like you rightly said, showed this. We had products that were really well packed, and they were all, taken off the shelves. And now we can see a growth in terms of the demand.
Dennis Igoa for UBC Business.
And government has been advised not to compensate people in the districts of Lwengo, Gomba, Rakai, Sembabule and Chotera who illegally acquired land titles of wetlands in speculation of reaping from payments for the land affected by the route of the oil pipeline. According to Ivan Amanigaruhanga, the extractive manager of the Worldwide Fund for Nature, government is committed to pay for crops but not those illegally acquired titles.
Speaking at the meeting with the affected residents from the districts of Lwengo, Gomba, Rakai, Sembabule and Kyotera, extractive manager of the Worldwide Fund for Nature, Ivan Amanigaruhanga, said many people got land titles in wetlands where the oil pipeline is supposed to pass but will not be compensated. He emphasized that only crops will be paid for, but not the illegally acquired land.
The laws of Uganda are very clear. You stay in a wetland, you are an illegal occupant.
So I don't expect government or the project developers to compensate anyone whose land is found in a wetland.
Oil and gas project officials met all the affected residents at Lwengo Sub-County Community Hall, where they exchanged views and ideas on the adverse effects of the construction of the oil pipeline. Agnes Namusitwa, one of the affected residents in Kakuto Sub-County, expressed fears having signed on documents and agreements they did not fully understand. She said some government officials were not straightforward in explaining to the affected residents of what and how much they will get for their land.
Let me sign an agreement, you take it without giving me a copy, because if you gave me a copy, that would be fine. That like I would take to either my husband or my wife or my child to interpret for me. But I think this one begins with the government officials.
Another resident from Lwengo district also complained over his eucalyptus forest that the government did not value.
And kenime amazi nechimira nerisa nfune chendya wano
mwenje tusayininga embereberi twasayininga ngempapula batubuuza abaana baffe batubuuza amannya gaffe buli kimu nga bwemanyi omuntu byokola ng'otunda naye nga situmanyi kikiddako era ekitweraliikiriza oba ekineraliikiriza nze gw'omuntu nti twatunda ebyaffe.
Brought to you by Bet with 1xBet.
And now in sports, Uganda's pursuit for All Africa Games success gathers pace with many disciplines opening their account. Boxing, table tennis and basketball's 3-on-3 team are some of those that enter the fray.
Uganda's participation at the All Africa Games in Morocco engages top gear starting this Wednesday. First up will be the basketball 3-on-3 team that faces hosts Morocco in a tricky tie that Uganda must secure to ease its path to glory.
Well, I believe the girls are ready. We have a lot of experience compared to the other countries. Our skill level is quite good. We could have had better preparation, but I believe what we have is adequate enough to get into the medal points.
The team is, however, short by one player, a situation that makes Rita Imanishiwe, Priscilla Abba and Hopper Kelo look for discipline and endurance all through.
Today, playing against the host, I believe we have an advantage that the Morocco players will kind of be under pressure because of the home court and everything. So I believe we're ready to go, in fact. I don't think it's going to be a big problem or a challenge us playing three players without the fourth person, because in 3-on-3 you play three players on court, so we're ready to take the challenge.
Wednesday also has boxer David Samudio in action against Mauritian Rosal Bajin Lok in the middleweight 75 kilograms, while at table tennis ladies have two team games, first against Nigeria and later Congo Brazzaville. Uganda's quest on Thursday will be led by Bombers captain Chadel Musa, who faces Zambian Selungu Nkumbu in a welterweight 69 kilograms eliminator.
The camp has been quite good so far. Ever since we landed here, we settled well, we got good leadership from our coaches and the officials. We came here and we felt like we were at home. We're very ready and we have nothing to complain about apart from waiting for the time, and we can perform.
It's a qualifier to the 2020 Olympic Games for all other disciplines apart from boxing. These 2019 All Africa Games is the 12th edition and is hosted in 4 Moroccan cities: Rabat, El Jadid, Kemisat and Casablanca. It's attended by 54 nations with 301 events in 26 sports disciplines, with Uganda taking part in 12. At the last games in Congo Brazzaville, Uganda won 4 medals, including a gold and silver from parasports Christina Akulo and David Emong, and 2 bronze medals, one of which was by boxing's Kennedy Katende. John Barnes, Sendam, reporting.
And Uganda rugby cranes are travelling to Zimbabwe for their Victoria Cup away game this weekend. The American ambassador to Uganda, Deborah Malak, and the South African High Commissioner to Uganda, Lekosoli Molo, visited the rugby cranes camp to morale boost before they embark on the 2 games against Zimbabwe and Zambia, respectively. Uganda lost to Zimbabwe 31-26 in a fully competitive game at Legends Ground and believes they can overturn the result. The Victoria Cup is a tournament involving Uganda, Kenya.
Successful team. What makes a winning team? It's about heart, it's about commitment, it's about dedication, it's about leaving everything out on the field. Even if you think the score is lopsided, even if you think there is no chance, you have to play until the very last minute of the game because there's always a possibility. So never, never, never give up. And know that all of us back here, back home in Uganda, will be rooting for you and cheering you on from afar. It's always more difficult, as my friend said, when you're away from home playing because you're in a stadium, in an arena where you have everybody else seems to be rooting for the other guy, for the home team.
Allowed, feel free.
We're rugby players. We don't
Brought to you by Bet with 1xBet.
And our top stories for the night. Cross-border activities to resume as Museveni-Kagame sign peace pact. Kosase summons Bank of Uganda Governor Mutabile. KCCA attributes City Hall burglary to sabotage. All pioneer Easy Bus Company in Nambole land fraud saga. And the KCCA leadership disagree on uniform property tax. Well, that does it. It's been amazing having your company. Mugalu Mohammed on Sign Language. I am Rhoda Ngonzi. Have a lovely night.